Thanks, Riyadh. 7:30 on the dot. This morning, Malaysia's Prime Minister says a new analysis of satellite data showing that the missing Malaysia Airlines plane plunged into the southern Indian Ocean. This morning's news, if confirmed, would be a major breakthrough in the unprecedented two-week struggle to find out what happened to Flight 370. The flight disappeared shortly after takeoff from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing with 239 passengers and crew aboard. Hope is fading fast in the search for any more survivors from a massive mudslide that killed at least 8 people in rural Washington state. The huge slide struck Saturday, destroying about 30 homes near the town of Oso, which is 90 kilometers north of Seattle. Besides the 8 confirmed deaths, several more people are seriously injured and up to 18 are still unaccounted for. Voices were heard calling for help on Saturday night, but the mud was so thick at that point, searchers could not reach anyone. Today, fire officials say they are no longer hearing or seeing signs of life.
Total devastation. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It reminds me of what a tornado looks like when it's touched the ground.
An investigation is underway at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport after a commuter train derailed earlier this morning. 32 people on board the 8-car train were injured after it failed to stop at the underground station. Officials say the train climbed over the last stop, jumped up onto the sidewalk, then went up the stairs and escalator. Chicago Transit Authority says it appears the train was traveling too fast. To South Africa now, where the Oscar Pistorius murder trial is entering its 4th week. Today, the double amputee Olympian's neighbor took the stand and reported hearing terrified screams. The neighbor testified she heard gunshots and later screams coming from the athlete's house just before dawn on Valentine's Day last year. Other witnesses also report hearing a woman screaming around the time Pistorius shot his girlfriend, Rena Steenkamp. The defense is arguing that Pistorius himself was screaming in a high-pitched voice upon learning that he'd killed Steenkamp. Pistorius claims he shot her through the bathroom door after believing she was an intruder. The ongoing container truck driver strike could be coming to an end as early as today. The provincial government is preparing to introduce back-to-work legislation. Greg Harper joins us live now from Port Metro Vancouver with the latest. Greg?
Good morning, Jody. Yeah, here to the entrance to Port Metro Vancouver, just off Commissioner Street in Vancouver. There are a number of container truckers behind me who just arrived. They continue to strike. We've spoken to a number of them this morning, and the consensus is they will not be going back to work, should back to work legislation be put in place, but ultimately they're going to wait to hear what their shop steward has to say. There was a very large rally on Friday as this job action continues. This is outside Canada Place in downtown Vancouver, and at that rally the union, which is Unifor, representing several hundred drivers, wouldn't say if truckers will return to work should back to work legislation be put in place, and it's possible legislation could be put through as early as today. So they were very adamant on Friday they might not return to work. Here's what they're saying at the picket line here this morning.
Nothing happened. Like, we wanted to negotiate and get something done, not just a legislative back. That's not the solution. Legislating back never do anything. They did it with the teachers. They did it with everything. That's all the good government is good for it. But they never do anything. So see what happened.
So drivers have maintained they want a negotiated settlement before returning to work. They claim there's undercutting going on, that their wages are too low, and the wait times are too long at the port. Jody?
All right, thank you very much. Greg Harper reporting live for us this morning at Port Metro Vancouver. Thanks, Greg. Vancouver police are sorting through the details surrounding a bloody incident outside the Main Street Skytrain station. Listen to this. It started with a verbal altercation between young people late yesterday afternoon outside of the Starbucks at Terminal Avenue. The fight escalated to violence, with a pair of teenagers being bear sprayed and stabbed, with the suspects fleeing the scene.
Some threats were exchanged and names were called, and then they were maced and it was started with yelling and then went to punching, then macing and stabbing.
That witness was also sprayed as she tried to help one of the victims. The 15-year-old victims, a boy and a girl, were taken to BC Children's Hospital for their stab wounds. They are in stable condition. Around 9:30 last night, 3 people were taken into custody. Both the victims and suspects are known to police. It's been 2.5 long years for the family and friends of an Armstrong teenager found beaten to death, and now they're finally getting their day in court. The community of Armstrong was shocked when 18-year-old Taylor Vandy was found unconscious and badly beaten near some railway tracks in October 2011. She had gone missing after leaving her home on Halloween night to do some trick-or-treating and later died in hospital of head injuries. 28-year-old Matthew Forrester was later charged with first-degree murder. His trial begins today in Kelowna.